Oh, there we go. Must be a new feature from Zoom. It tells you it's being recorded. I will call the June 1st, 2021 Board of Selectmen meeting to order. It is 7 p.m. This meeting is being recorded. And all three selectmen are present. Begin with agenda item 2, approval of minutes. I make a motion that we approve the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from May 18th, 2021.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on these minutes?
Sorry, the dogs just got let in. I didn't see anything.
I didn't either. Oops, wait, Ken, you're muted. One sec.
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of approving the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from May 18th, 2021, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Make a motion that we approve the Board of Selectmen special meeting minutes from May 21st, 2021.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any discussion on these minutes?
Again, I didn't see anything.
We're good.
All right, all in favor of approving the Board of Selectmen special meeting minutes from May 21st, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. We had two pieces of correspondence, the police services report, and then a message from the Thompson Public Library. I had been away on vacation. Otherwise, I would have added that to the agenda. So during my selectmen's comments, I am going to want to add that to the agenda for the Thompson Public Library wage increase. I'd like to add that, but I'll get to that in selectmen's comments, which is.
Do you want a motion to do it now?
Can we do that? You want a motion?
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to make the motion, Susan?
Oh, sure. I'll make a motion that we add the correspondence from the Thompson Public Library to other business.
Second.
10, yeah.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on adding this item to other business? Okay, all in favor of adding the Thompson Public Library correspondence to agenda item 10, other business, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, and that motion passes. We are on to selectmen comments. Any selectmen comments?
I'll make a comment. It was nice to getting back to normal again. The Memorial Day parade was great. The float, the people that attended, it was nice seeing things getting back to normal and us being able to get out there and, do what we need to do and be able to, properly celebrate some of our holidays. And just one comment on the Memorial Day, it just goes to show the sacrifices that were made, over the decades with our service people that has allowed us to, to be the country we are and, be able to fight the pandemic and come up with the vaccine and things of that nature, because if we didn't have these freedoms today, we would definitely be living in the dark ages.
I'm just going to echo Ken and say thank you to all those that did serve and volunteered to give up their lives so that we can be free. And those that do serve now that maintain that freedom. And Ken, it was a nice parade, and I have to commend, I think it was the middle school band on their poppies. Those were awesome.
Weren't the poppies fantastic?
Yes, so creative.
The school, absolutely. Huge shout out to the school.
Mm-hmm.
They initially didn't think they were going to have a band to play.
That's what I heard.
TMHS pulled it out with 4 weeks of practice. They did a fantastic job.
I thought they were fabulous.
The poppies were beautiful. The float was amazing. Fire departments, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. It was nice to have people lining the streets. There was great support. At East Thompson Cemetery, they did honor Joe Lindley.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, all around it, it was a really wonderful day and the rain held out. So that made it even more perfect.
Yes.
I had been away for the last week, a little over a week, and was so happy not to wear a mask everywhere I went. So it was nice to have just be able to be with people again. And I will say that I've got a huge thing to be celebratory about. My son is home from his deployment. He's back in Oklahoma.
Oh, that is exciting.
So that was exciting news. He served 6 months in Africa. He's very happy to be on US soil.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So yeah. So I don't have too much else to report. I do want to say to everybody who's listening out there who might see this recording later, Quadic Road, the grinding of Quadic Road begins on Thursday. It was supposed to start at some point next week. They're a week ahead of schedule. Our public works guys are frantically trying to finish up prep for the road, but sections of that road will be closed starting Thursday. So I'm going to be putting a notice out to Winnie Radio because I want them to be able to blast it out there. So there'll be a slight inconvenience, but those who live near Quadic Road or on Quadic Road are going to be very happy with the results when the road is completely rebuilt. So the last thing that I want to talk about is I received an email from Bill Birch, and that's why Bill is in the meeting tonight. As you know, in our budget, we had allocated some funds on the town side to cover the cost of the flooring in the school and possibly, if there's any left, some for the locker room. It's their choice to decide how they divvy it up. So I'd like to add to the other business discussion on the bid process for this project. So I'll make a motion that we add to other business this school funded project or the town funded project at the school and the bid process. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this motion and adding this to other business? Okay. All in favor of adding to other business, the town funded school capital project? Say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. We'll add it to other business after the Thompson Public Library wage increase edition. Okay. All right. Any other selectmen comments at this time? Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 5, which is citizen comments. Any citizen comments at this time? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 6. So we do have an executive session planned for this evening, and that means that I'll have to put everybody into the waiting room and stop the recording. Once our executive session is over, I will bring everybody back into the meeting. So I'll make a motion that we would move into executive session at 7:08 PM.
Second.
And who's going, you've got a name who's
Oh.
going in.
So it would be myself, Suzanne, our attorney, Ken Beausoleil, and Ken Beausoleil. So the 3 selectmen plus our attorney will be going into executive session.
And you have to name the reason we're going in.
We are going in to discuss the Marianapolis sewer litigation. So that's the motion. You got it right, Dottie?
Okay, so now I'll
Really
say
doesn't thumbs
second.
up. Okay, so that was my motion. She's got it. She'll word it. She'll word it perfectly. And we have a second from Suzanne. All in favor of going, any further discussion on it?
No.
Okay, all in favor of moving into executive session at 7:08 PM, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So at this point, like I told everybody, I will move you all into the waiting room, but I will bring you all back in. Just take me a second. Wish there was a faster way to do this.
do you have to do it one at a
Yeah, I
time?
have to do one at a time. But I'm almost there. All right, there's 4 of us, and let me stop the recording. Whoops, wait, cancel. I'm gonna pause it, actually.
There's Bill.
Right, the Board of Selectmen is coming out of executive session at 8:01 PM. No action is taken at this time. Everyone for your patience. I sometimes try to put the attorney at the end, but for the sake of time, and he had some other things he had to get to, I tried to squeeze him in from the beginning. So thank you for your patience. All right, we will move on to agenda item 7, appointments. Daniel Bennett to the Economic Development Commission as an alternate.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Daniel Bennett to the Economic Development Commission as an alternate. Term to expire December 31st, 2021. Any discussion on this candidate? Okay, all in favor of approving or appointing Daniel Bennett to the Economic Development Commission as an alternate, term to end December 31st, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and that motion passes. All right, agenda item 8, Department of Public Works, Owen Adam Culvert. We had received a message, I had forwarded it, and you should have gotten it in your meeting documents from the DPW director in regard to Owen Adam Road. Marla, our wetlands agent, had asked that Rich Benoit, our Public Works director, visit the road, the location where there is a culvert crossing Long Branch Brook. Basically, what Rich said in his email to us is that the plates have been significantly compromised that sit over this culvert as movement of the plate to the south has moved away from its mate. This movement appears to have been caused by further collapse of the material under the plates and above rotted pipe. Due to liability concerns for the town of Thompson, it is Rich Benoit's recommendation in his email that this culvert be condemned by the town and removed for safety reasons. I feel that it is best interest of the town to make certain that this town-owned crossing can no longer be utilized by motorized vehicles or equipment. So in trying to research, Marla had come to me with information from a 1989 Board of Selectmen meeting where motion was made by Mr. Williams and seconded by Mr. Broder of the Board of Selectmen. They made the motion to close Owen Adam Road due to reasons of health and safety. That motion was passed. So I guess the big discussion is what we're going to do with this road. I will say that we did a little bit of additional research with the assessor. We looked into some of the deeds. And I guess what I have to further research, which is going to take a lot more legwork and a lot more looking into when Owen Adam Road actually became a road. Because according to the deed of the properties, it appears that Owen Adam Road was a right-of-way in one of the deeds. So Ken, do you have any information? We always lean on you as a longstanding member of the board. Do you have any information as far as when Owen Adam might have actually became a road? Because we're not finding it.
I don't remember. You know, it was a road when I was a kid growing up in town. At one point we could get through it. We did have property along Owen Adam Road. And there was a deal made with the Ruzinskis where we swapped land, which was, you know, off of Wilsonville and there. But we did shut the road down back in the day because of they did back in the day because of people parking, dropping debris and things of that nature was the reason. And there was no houses or anything along it. And there hasn't been as long as I can remember. And I think that's the case today. There's a gate there now. The only people that have access to it are the people that own property along the road. So that way they can get to their property. but it's not open to traffic.
My feeling is that for safety, the culvert either needs to be removed, the road needs to be closed. But before we even do that, I thought that maybe I should check with our attorneys and find out, I mean, if we can do, we have so many paper roads and discontinued roads, or roads that, you know, are obsolete because 395 came through and now the roads don't exist anymore. If there was a way to do a road inventory or a road audit, and then start, I know I've had conversations with Marla Butts, our wetlands agent, where we discussed possibly discontinuing some of those roads officially. So I wish I had more information at this point, but we really came up to dead ends as far as, like I said, the way the deed was written, there appears to be a right of way. And it's just a matter of figuring out, well, when was Owen Adam Road actually accepted as a road by the board?
And we may never find that. There could have been one of those Liberty type highways that it was always a road back in the colonial days. And you'll never see anything on that. Some of that came up when we were having discussions with the Star Road litigation a few years ago. You know, roads were there were cart paths, and they were never fully approved, but you know, we ended up with them for a variety of reasons.
Then if that was the case, then this road should be officially discontinued and the culvert removed if it's a safety issue.
Well, if it's
Or-
safety,
Or if it's, I'm sorry, Ken, go ahead.
but being a safety issue, we have to block off that culvert so nobody can go over it. That's the safety issue that we have to deal with. The question, and I'm not exactly sure where the culvert is without walking down that, and I haven't been down that in decades. You know, you could enter that road from both ends, off of Wilsonville and off of Labby Road, because there was a road that went through. They were blocked at both ends. So.
But then the question becomes, if it is the right of way to a private landowner, and it's not the responsibility of the town, then it doesn't become our responsibility at all. And I think that's the bigger question. If we can't say for sure, because the deeds aren't saying that it's owned by the town in any way, if it's privately owned, then it's not a matter of the town to even decide what happens to it. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
Is it appropriate for comments? I have a little background on this that might be helpful.
Absolutely. I would appreciate that.
Can you just identify?
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course. My name
Identify
is
yourself and your address.
Sure. My name is David Smith. I'm in Staffordville, Connecticut, but I'm the principal engineer at KWP Associates. And I helped Norman and his family with their gravel permit application and approval in 2015. The access to that particular site and other parcels of land is over top of Long Branch through that culvert. In 2015, there was concern about the culvert. It appeared as though that heavy logging trucks had crossed over it and had possibly exceeded the old culvert's safe carrying capacity.
Wait, let me.
What Mr. Rudzinski did was to provide those two pieces of deck plating that you see there. And they're not just flat sheets of steel that one might use in a road construction to protect a trench. They actually have I-beams underneath them and webs that connect them into kind of a steel sandwich. They're 23 feet long and they span the 5 foot of the culvert with about 9 feet on each side bearing on firm compacted gravel. In 2015, those were installed. I think you have in your packet a letter from Mr. Benoit, but I don't know that he was involved in it. First Selectman Paul Lanke was involved at the time, and that was a very suitable temporary measure with the expectation that the town was going to follow up on that repairing the culvert. Presently, the culvert, as Mr. Benoit correctly observes, is suffering. It's not gotten it hasn't healed itself. There's been 6 years more of beavers and winter floods, spring runoff, back and forth. I believe that the last time gravel actually left the site was perhaps in 2018 or 17 when Norman passed away. But it is still the means to get into and out of several of those properties. As I understand it, Rich Road also comes in through there, but Owen Adam does go back out to Wilsonville Road. But back when we were considering what was the best way to access the gravel site, it was decided by others that going out to Wilsonville would not be satisfactory. I don't know if there are other obstacles on that stretch of the road that were deemed insurmountable. Norman had at his fingertips appropriate materials, and we made a very sound bridge. It does look like it's settled a little bit. It is gapped a couple inches right to left and about an inch or two vertically, which kind of makes sense that through frost heaving and whatnot, that would be, but I drove my pickup truck over top of it last Friday without any shimmy, shake, moan, or groan from that particular structure. If you have to do what you have to do to protect your self from perhaps liability, but I think you have to recognize that there was a commitment that was going to be fixed 6 years ago, and it still hasn't been. It's not getting better. Norman provided a method to make that work as a temporary, very 6 years, 8 years, 9 years. It's still temporary. It's not a permanent solution, and I believe the family is interested in renewing their gravel permit. And this is an essential ingredient of how one goes from the source to the outside world. And so that's what I know about that. I still believe that road is sound. It's got, as I say, 8 feet of each of those panels on respective east and west sides of that brook are bearing on firm soil. They're not bearing on that culvert. It doesn't rely on that culvert. It looks ugly. When it finally disappears and the material starts to slide into the stream channel, we'll start to see that haunch being reduced. But by then, I'm hoping that you will have come up with a solution that's fair to the property owners and also limits your exposure and expense. So.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for the update. I appreciate it.
Just my
Sorry about
phone.
that. That was yours? Okay. I
Yeah.
shut mine off and then it kept going and I couldn't figure out where it was.
Yeah,
It's an Amber
Amber
Alert.
Alert.
Amber Alert, right. So if I go back to 2015, this will be
Never gotten
helpful
that
to see
before.
what the Lenke administration might have said. Administration might have said.
Marla
I do
participated
believe
in those
if we-
discussions too. So.
Right. If we go back to 1989, though, the road was closed. And
I don't know that it
to-
was.
To say that it's the town's responsibility to repair a culvert that satisfies the need of a gravel operation would not be very popular to me or to many people within town.
Sometimes doing the right thing isn't popular. You have a responsibility to the taxpayers in these
Not if we
lots.
can determine that it's not really our road.
But
And
again,
that's where we
I
have to
know that
decide.
Bruce Woodis did a little digging on that, and it was our contention at that time, and Paul agreed, and Marla did too, that it was a town issue. It was not, we did this work to facilitate their schedule, but the Radzinski's schedule, but not because they were the sole responsible party for fixing this.
Well, going back to 1989, then we have to find when it was determined to reopen the road because it was closed.
As I say, I don't think it was correctly closed, so that's therein is the issue.
All right. No, I agree. And I
Well,
thank you very much for your information.
Amy, what would the correct way of closing a road would be at a town meeting, wouldn't it? I mean, at a Board of Selectmen meeting by the Board of Selectmen, am I correct?
But would believe so. But I will, I mean, it's officially called discontinuing the road
There's two
versus
types of,
closing the road.
two types of closure. One is discontinuance and one is abandonment.
Abandon. So, and whereas these minutes only say close Owen Adam Road.
Automat, yeah.
There's nothing stopping us from discontinuing the road or whatever the proper, and then it would revert back to, if it goes through town meeting, then it would go back to the center of the road, and the abutters have access to get to and from their properties, but it no longer becomes the town's liability.
So this goes on to say that there were supposed to be boulders put in front of it. And iron lock gates.
They did put iron lock gates at the Labby Road end.
The board
Yeah.
suggested that the town would place boulders or flex beams at the
So
entrance
then
of Labby, yeah.
In
And that the
September
landowner-
September 2013, under Selectman Larry Grow, he gave Mr. Rudzinski his permission to remove the guard railing on Labby Road for the purpose of gaining access to Labby Road during the timber harvesting activities on his property located off of Rich Road.
Okay,
That was
And
one of the other
there's
things. that
another
you should have
property
received.
that I believe is east of the Rudzinski property, separately owned by different people, isolated by 395. I believe someone correctly observed that the presence of the interstate there isolated a number of these large properties, or actually snipped off the value of the roads as a through road. So you have Owen Adam, Rich Road, a couple of others in through there. So
Yeah, it became open space after woodlots. And you're looking at roughly 1964.
maybe so, but there's a
When the highway
value
went through.
there's a value to this property as a gravel bank. The only practical means to access it is over top of this pathway. If you have to talk with the family to see what they would prefer to do, as far as if you abandoned it or discontinued it, whatever the correct term is, correctly, and it reverted to them, they would still have the right to pass and repass over top of it. And you would have no more exposure, I suppose, to that. But I don't know about other families who's doing improvements, that sort of thing, and whether this constitutes a taking.
And those are the details that we really have to find out.
But in the meantime, I believe that next week they have an application that's going to be talked about by your Wetlands Commission for renewal of that gravel permit. So that's what brought it all to a head, and the academic exercise of is the road the town's road or not is important, certainly, but fundamentally there's a key issue, is that the property has a current permit, is eligible for an extension. I believe that the work that was done was satisfactory to Marla. She just asked out for Rich to weigh in on it. And I gather, as he knew, he wasn't part of the discussion 6 years ago when we came up with this solution, so.
Unfortunately, none of that seems to be documented.
Right.
Well,
So
I
a
have a
discussion is-
report that does refer to Mr. Lanky's commitment. If you do not have a copy of that, I'm sure
Where
we
is
can
it
get you.
from?
I wrote it as a report to support our application for the Wetlands Commission.
So there should be some documentation if you submitted it with your.
Marla
application.
has that, so
So- Sounds like we need to do some research on our behalf. Maybe take a road trip too.
well, I think you'll come out there and you'll be able to see that extraordinary efforts by a private individual have been done to preserve the access back and forth. And merely because someone's afraid of a bill to fix it doesn't mean that it's just the right thing to do. So,
It's just the question of whether it's the town's responsibility to fix a road that was technically closed. But Ms. Rudzinski, I think you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Ma, do you want to put your speaker on?
Unmute, Patty.
Close. You did it. You gotta hit it
Can
one
you-
more.
Can you just identify yourself and say your address so that our recording
I'm,
secretary
uh,
has it?
My name is Brenda Rosinski. I'm coming to you from Brooklyn, New York. I live in Brooklyn, New York, but my mom is on Labby Road. And I lived and went to, school and everything until I was 20 in that area. And so, Mom, didn't you say that there's, I just wanted to kind of make a note about the other people that also own property in that area that use the road or potentially need to use the road, I guess, to get to their own property? Mom? Oh,
No.
you hit the mute again. Hit it again. There you go. Okay. We can hear you if you talk now. Anyway, is it Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. So, yeah, I think my mom had said something about, I went to high school with Tommy Nome, and I think he owns a portion of the area as well.
I'm afraid I'm at my home and not at KWP's office, so I don't have access to the entire file. But I recall that there were several properties out there that were, unlike this one that has frontage, albeit isolated because of Long Branch, the associated wetlands with it. They have high and dry property that has no frontage on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I know that there are several, people who own along it. I know Tommy was one of them, but I don't know the logistics of, where, or if he's landlocked, and all that stuff. I don't know, but.
I'm looking at the parcel map as we speak. Nome, the Woodwards owned east of the Long Branch Brook.
Okay.
And they own several properties out there as well. There's a waller out there. There's a few properties, but they are west of the brook. And of course, Norman and your mom own both sides of the brook. And then there's another piece of property that they own to the east of that as well.
Hmm.
But the road did go all the way through, so.
Ken, do you recall what might have been the issue why going out the other end of Owen Adam was unsatisfactory? The terrain?
The road was a dirt road. It was extremely rough back in the day. It actually cuts right through the Woodwards property, right where their house is on Wilsonville Road. And then
Maybe that was why they preferred to go this direction rather than that direction.
Probably.
So it sounds like we need to do a little more research to have some better answers, and I am more than willing to take a ride out there and look at it too. But
I mean, even
I don't think we can make any decisions on this tonight.
Oh, no, and I didn't expect to. It was something I wanted to bring to your attention with as much information as I had. I'm happy that Mr. Smith was able to share a little bit more so I can look in that direction. Yeah, and I hope to get some better information before our next meeting.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's a shorter ride going out of Labby Road by far.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense to go the other way, so I think that's why they prefer going out by Labby.
Yeah, and I believe
part of the
Norman
distance.
also had some connections in Massachusetts, so if they took a right, only couple hundred yards to the state line, and that might have been even more appealing too, so.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that I was able to provide some information that you might not have already had at your fingertips. If there's anything else we can do, I'm pleased to do so. And
I could reach you at KWP if I had another question.
of course,
KWP, right, okay.
I work there part-time, but Bruce is there, of course, all the time, and he's fully aware of what's going on. And if I don't answer the phone, I can get to you, return your call quite quickly. So,
Does your engineering take in bridge work or loads of anything of that nature?
well, in Connecticut, you're a civil engineer, you're a PE. You're obliged to only work on stuff that you feel confident that you have expertise in. They don't license bridge engineers versus traffic engineers versus drainage engineers. So I'm quite comfortable that what we were doing there as a temporary measure is fine. I'm not betting my house that it's going to be sound for the next 100 years, but it did look as though it had suffered for the last 6 years, but not fatally so. So, and you know, I guess that's as good as I can do right now, but I wouldn't want to put a rating on that necessarily. We'd have to pull it apart, and then once we've done that, we've broken it. So it's
If I could,
One last thing, I think. Go
If I-
ahead, Ms. Rosinski.
yeah, thanks, Amy. First of all, it's really great to meet everybody virtually. But my mom just wanted to call. She's on she's having a trouble getting on, you know, the audio. I can hear
Brenda,
her.
could you state your mom's address, the actual physical address, so we can,
196 Labby Road.
196 Labby, okay.
And so she just wanted to add through another means here that she would love to, you know, she would like to be there when you guys come and check things out as well. If you could
Okay.
contact her, I can give you a phone number if you need that, to give her a call.
Yeah, what's her phone number?
Sure, it's 860-935-5544.
Brenda, is it your mother that's applying for the permit or who's?
For the gravel bank?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they've had it several times now. I don't know exactly how many times, but they've had it for several years.
And
I
it
was
renews in
involved in the-
October. It renews in October, correct?
In 2015, we got a new permit for the work that was going on out there. It was renewed in 2019 and was offered a 2-year extension, which would get it to this current 21, and they're entitled to another 3 years of extension per the statutes. So that's what they're, I believe, trying to resolve with your wetlands agent and commission next month.
Mr. Smith, it's October, correct? October is the renewal date?
Gosh, let me see if I have a copy of it here.
Oh, I just like to know what our time frame is to figure
I
things out.
believe that it is indeed October. And that was application
It's the
14019.
Yeah, it's the
I do not have the paperwork for the renewal from 19 to 21, but I assume it's on an annual basis. So, but somehow I got the impression from Marla's email that something was going on next week with the Wetlands Commission. Maybe they're starting the process. If Patty could communicate with us, maybe she knows more about that schedule.
So just a quick question. You're looking to gain the gravel mining in that 14-acre parcel?
All right, let me just turn.
Across the brook to the left, north and east side of the brook. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there was 14 acres that used to be town property back in 08. And then, of course, they
That
have
paper I
60 acres that's there as well.
Again, I don't have the whole file, but that sounds about right. It wasn't 70 acres of disruption. It was a much more precise application. 3 different phases, I believe we broke it up into to keep it manageable.
All right, so we will do a little bit more research and come back and we can revisit it again at the next meeting.
Thank you very much for your consideration. I appreciate that very much.
Thanks, Amy and Suzanne and Mr. Bo. If I'm saying that right. Am I
Just say
saying
Ken. Just say Ken.
Ken? You just got a K, so I didn't want to,
That's
guess.
fine.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
All right,
Welcome.
thanks.
All right, moving on to agenda item 9, unless there's any other discussion on this topic.
I'm good for now.
Home rule resolution. We were presented with a potential resolution to support home rule in municipal zoning decision making. It's something that I'm in support of. at this point, the House has passed the measure, which would take away some of the control from local governments in deciding planning and zoning. It's to go before the Senate. I could not get the date when that might be going before the Senate for approval. But basically, this resolution would say that we believe in local input, that we believe the right should stay within our elected planning and zoning commissions. And yeah, I'm just curious what the board thinks. Should we enter into this at this point? I don't think it's a bad idea. We would send it to May Flexer. We would send it to the governor's office. Yeah. So. I'm curious what you guys are.
Any resolution holds no weight
I know.
by any means.
I agree. And I believe that this is going to pass the Senate. But I think that it's right to take a stand and say, we believe this. That's why we have elected planning and zoning commissions. I think that this is the case of the state overreaching its powers.
I would be in support of sending correspondence to the Senate that states that local zoning, is in control. It has been in control. It works very well. Don't reinvent the wheel. And I'm just paraphrasing.
That's basically, I think, what this resolution says. And I'm in support of signing it and sending it as well. I think we do a good job here in our town. Speaking just for our town, I don't think we need the state to step in and help. I'm in support of signing it and sending it.
Has this been reviewed by any attorney? By
Yes,
any
I did.
chance?
I sent it to Ken Slater, and he said, yeah, it was just at our discretion whether or not, same thing. Does it hold a lot of weight? No, but it states our case so that we have a position. And I think it's important as local officials to at least have a position on important topics, important things that are going to be coming before the House or coming before the Senate. Yeah. Will it fall on deaf ears? Potentially, but at least we made a statement. At least we took a position, and it's important to stand up for certain things.
Oh, that's why I'm saying if we could abbreviate this thing and just say that the town is not in favor of state control. It's only in favor of using local zoning, and just shrink the size of it down. It says the same thing, and it's not saying one thing one way or the other than control should remain with the local town and P&Z.
So would that be something we would draft in a letter format and
That's
all of us
what
would sign?
That's what I would
But
recommend.
This is written as a resolution, I like the way this was written, and it makes an official statement, and it's very descriptive, and it's precise. That's what I liked about this is it states exactly, that we're not in favor of control of we're in favor of the local control and decisions. And it kind of goes item for item. I read it a couple of times. I liked it. I don't know. I would have signed this one, but that's just my opinion. I'm in favor of whatever you guys, as long as it kind of states the same thing. If you want it in simpler terms, that's fine.
I would draft something in simpler terms, that control is with the local planning and zoning and the regulations that that we put forward. We're not everything that we're talking about is in our regulations. We're not talking about this, that, or the other thing, or being specific. Control should remain with the local municipality and, planning and zoning, period. We're not gonna, we're not just,
sorry.
we don't want to get into the weeds of, this project, that project, and start spelling all of that stuff out. because even our regulations can change depending, we just did a rewrite.
But it really doesn't get into that nitty gritty of it. It just, I don't know.
It talks about a lot of different projects in that letter, in that resolution.
Maybe it's on the back page. It does, has some, well,
Well, you
it would
could
have to be
do-
written out. It would have to be written a little bit different, and a little more specific to Thompson, I guess, but anyway, maybe, Ken could just take some highlights of this and put it into a letter form or something.
Thing Ken Slater, or
Or is that what you were saying? Or you or one of us? I don't know.
I think we could draft something based on, and I mean, if you gave me the go-ahead, I could draft something for your approval. We could get it drafted and sent right out.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of, you know, everything staying with the local municipality. This is why we have our
Well,
planning
what
and
if you
zoning.
took, what if we took the last line, Ken, and just said that the Board of Selectmen of Thompson opposes any state mandated one-size-fits-all zoning legislation and the ability of any outside housing authority to have jurisdiction over our town's affordable housing plan, and any similar legislation that would further overrule, remove, or diminish local control and decision-making related to planning and zoning or affordable housing from the town of Thompson, and keep it as simple as that. It's the now be it resolved, that last one.
Yeah, I'm looking for my copy as we speak.
Okay, good. So make it a simple letter to Mayflex or governor's office, whoever else. Let's see. All members of the state legislature's planning and development, finance. I mean, will it hold weight? I guess if the three of us sign it, if we're in agreement to it.
You know, any state mandated one size fits all zoning legislation. I mean, that says it right there. It should just remain with the local, you know, town.
Amy, if you want to draft something out and send it to us, and then if we can send you back edits as we see necessary, then
We have
send
to
it back
vote on
out.
it.
I think if we signed it, that's kind of like a consent, isn't it? It's a statement from us.
All right,
Do you
I'll
think
get
we have to
work
vote on it, Ken?
Excuse me?
Do you think we have to vote on the approval of publicly vote on it?
Not through, the board just authorizes, mandates the resolution or the letter that goes out.
Yeah. I just think we'd need to stop by and sign it.
But, you know,
Once
we
you have
should,
your input.
Right.
yeah, I mean, we just got to keep it simple. We don't want any outside interference in our zoning. You know, we have our board and commission, we have our regulation, we address everything appropriately when the situation arises.
We're a small town. We can deal with it within. We don't need the
Exactly,
influence.
but you know, you don't want to get into, you know, this project, that project, or this type of, you know, say it's a liquor store or a gas station. We have all of that in our regulations. We don't want outside interference, period. Leave it at the local level.
I will draft something and send it your way for your approval or edits.
Okay.
Okay. What's next?
That works for me. All right, moving on to agenda item 10A, Thompson Public Library wage increase. We had all received the email from the Board of Trustees. So from what I understand, I guess to backpedal it, the previous year, so the previous fiscal year, the union employees received a 2% raise when nobody else received one. This year, they have not received, they're not receiving their increase. So when we drafted or when we created the budget this year, the non-union employees all received the 2.5% increase. So 0.5% more than what the union employees had received in the past. Neither here nor there. What the Board of Trustees is looking to do is make the 2.5% increase retroactive to January 1, which means many of the non-union employees that work at Town Hall will not get retroactive pay. The Board of Trustees has moved forward with every other employee, but the reason why this is coming before us is because it's the town building. It does not fall under the Board of Trustees' care, so we would have to approve it. I'm not happy. I will express from the beginning that this is being offered to these non-union employees that work for the library when it's not being offered to the non-union employees at the town. I think the 2.5% increase was more than fair. There are still companies that are not giving increases. I'm ultimately, I'm not in favor of this. I think if the Board of Trustees needs to find money elsewhere, then they have to find money elsewhere in the budget. It's only $200, but I'm not in favor of it, just to say from the get-go. But, oh, do we have to make a motion before we discuss it? I'm sorry.
No?
Okay.
You're giving some background on it. I think it was only for the daytime custodian because
It is.
there
No.
has not been a nighttime custodian.
That's the only reason it's coming to us, because they've already issued the 2.5 to the other library employees, because that falls under the library budget, which does not have to be approved by the Board of Selectmen.
So are you saying out
Because-
of their budget, they appropriated the 2.5 for the library staff, retroactive,
Active to January
out of their
1.
budget?
They've already done that. It went through payroll today. The only reason that Don's, and I love Don, he's a great employee. I think he does a phenomenal job at the library, but that's not my issue. The only reason this is coming to us is because they had to ask the Board of Selectmen, because it doesn't fall under the Board of Trustees.
And I'm gonna look at this in a different vein. I understand what you're saying. We have not had an evening custodian. He's doing double duty and helping out the rest part of the building. We have saved a ton of money that we haven't paid a nighttime staff, and you're looking at $200 to compensate, the extra work that he's done. I think he's earned it.
That's not what they're looking for, though, Ken. They're not looking, he's not doing extra work. He's not putting in extra hours. They close early. They close early. They refuse to have groups in there after they close because they don't have an evening custodian. So the town has suffered. He hasn't put in extra time. They're asking for this because they have to, because it's being pulled out of the town budget. And this budget for the building falls on our shoulders and not the Board of Trustees. Whereas the other library employees are under the control of the Board of Trustees. I know what you're saying, but
I don't like the way that whole system works. We're one town, and that's a town building. The library is a town-owned building, correct?
that's why Don's salary comes out of the.
But the entire library is a town-owned building, correct? It just, to me, makes no sense, because their employees that are non-union are now getting retroactive back to January, but the town hall employees are not. And
that are
any
not
non-union is not.
Right. Be grateful that you got 2.5.
Well, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying
I am.
that seems like it should have been discussed, that we should have been, I don't like that at all. I get it. That was within their right to do that. They took it out of their budget. I just, the town hall employees worked very hard, the non-union people that didn't get a raise. And now it just seems unfair to them. I don't know.
I don't disagree with what you're saying by any means. Usually the The library runs the facility. We usually don't touch it. I mean, very simply, we could just bring it up at the next Board of Finance meeting and ask them if they're willing to do it or not, because they have to approve, you know, any of the transfers and any of the line items, whether it's now or at the end of the year, by the end of June. And we do have one.
So Ken, do you think, is it your opinion that we should just pass it off to the Board of Finance to make the decision? Or, I mean, I don't want to do that.
I don't personally.
Do we
think it's
have to
fair.
anyways?
I don't think it's fair to the non-union employees at the town hall or any of the others that didn't get a pay increase.
And we don't have the flexibility to say, oh, we're going to make it retroactive.
That's not fair. We did, I mean, we did do 2.5 when some years in the past, they've only gotten 1.75. And I know they didn't get an increase last year, but I think that's why Ken and I were advocating for a higher increase this year. To help to compensate for that lack of increase last year. I'm not in favor of it.
I would agree with you, Suzanne, that if you're going to go retroactive, you go retroactive to all of the non-people that did not get a raise.
Any further discussion?
I would not be opposed to sitting on this one and not taking any action.
Want to sit on it and bring it up at the next meeting?
Yeah, give us some time to think about this one.
Then if Allison wanted to come in, she could, or the Board of Trustees.
Because it's not an Allison thing. That's not my problem. I get it. This guy deserves it. We all deserved it. I didn't get more, much for a raise last year either, but.
And it's only $200.
And that's not it. It's about not being fair to all the employees in town that didn't get a pay increase. That's where that's just not fair. They all worked really hard. They all worked through COVID. They all worked, they came to work, most of them every day. They did their jobs and they all deserve it. That's not the point. Giving it to him is a slap in the face to those that showed up every day and did their job too.
Yeah, see if we can get somebody from the library to sit in on the 18th, not the 18th.
But I don't even know that that's necessary because they're only going to tell us how hard he's worked.
How they feel, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is something we need to think about and think if there's, because this is taxpayer money. And it does add up, I suppose.
All right,
I don't
so
know. I would sit
no
on this
action
one.
taken at this time. We'll bring it up at the next meeting.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on to agenda item 10B, school flooring. I hope Bill's still with us. Thanks, Bill, for hanging on.
Hey, Bill woke up.
I wasn't sleeping, but
This is
This
a
has all
long
been-
meeting for us.
this
this
has
is.
all been very interesting. I want you to know.
Really?
And I'm not going to weigh in on my opinion on any of it, okay? So this is going to be quick. This is simply procedural. So I've been around for like 20 years now, and this is the first time there has been a school project that's funded on the town side of the budget. And it's to replace the flooring. Where'd we go? It's to replace the flooring in the high school, in the corridors. So the Board of Education's procedure is that if you use a vendor off the state bid list, then you can avoid the public bid process. That's the way it works. So
I
don't
brought up
know-
on this, I brought up on the screen, Bill, what the current policy is for the town of Thompson.
okay,
Any item over 10,000 must go to bid. Bid solicitations will be approved by the Board of Selectmen at a Selectmen's meeting. Requests for proposals will be advertised. Sealed bids will be open at the Board of Selectmen meeting. The Board of Selectmen, and here's what want to bring before the board tonight, is the Board of Selectmen may decide not to go to bid on goods and or services if the Board of Selectmen discusses and votes to do so at any Selectmen's meeting. In this case, I would lean towards moving forward the way the school typically moves forward with this type of work. And I would be in favor of waiving the bid process. And that's,
So just to be clear, Bill, typically you just would select off the state vendors list,
Correct.
a vendor, get them, they would write you a bid?
Correct. And mostly the reason for doing that is for scheduling. So you have to remember that, you know, in a normal year, whatever we're going to do, we have to do in 8 weeks' time.
Right,
So, you know, if you put something out, by the time you go out to bid, by the time you get the bids in, by the time you look at the bids and.
Right.
all-
12
And-
weeks has gone by.
Right.
How many quotes do you get?
Well, if we take a vendor off the state bid list, you know, we have, you know, pre-vetted vendors that we use over and over again. If they come off the state bid list, we generally take their quote and have them do the job, issue a PO and do the job.
So you would typically only get one quote?
If they're off the bid list, yes.
So.
Bill, have you found any of the, I mean, sometimes they have multiple contractors that do the same type of work.
Yeah.
Have you found that they differ? in their pricing?
They're pretty close. Yeah, you know, they're pretty close. In order to get the state contracts, everybody has to be pretty much spot on. Mostly it comes down to labor and everybody's paid union rate. So they're pretty much spot on. They're within a few dollars.
Bill, was it your plan to get this finished over the summer? Do you
Well,
think?
It was our hope to get it finished over the summer.
Is
So
it still
that's
busy?
so that's why I say it's procedural. That's what it comes down to. If we're going to get it done this summer, then probably going out to a public bid isn't going to work, which means that it'll be put off until we'd probably bid it, I would say, you know, January, February, get the quotes and then encumber the funds so that we could do it next summer before the fiscal year runs out. You know, I don't know what that might do to cost, because based on what's going on right now between labor and materials, it could go up. But on the other hand, it could also go the other way. It could go down.
Well, materials are going up. There's no doubt about that.
So- Sorry.
Just one quick, is when they do a state bid and due to the volatility of materials available, is that open to what the current market is for those items that increases are factored in?
So the vendor that we've been working with, I want to say for probably about the past 4 years, he gave us this quote. He gave us this quote on this work prior to the budget going out, which would have been about around December of last year. And as of today, he's holding to that price.
So you have a quote?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that you had a quote that was usable in your hands right now, because I was,
So this is,
I was gonna-
this,
oh.
Suzanne, is what we call a shovel-ready project. It's ready
it's
to
ready to
go.
go, yep. So I would make a motion that we waive the bid process for the projects at the school. Because of the time restraints.
I would second that motion. So we have a motion and a second. For any further discussion?
The only thing that I would ask of Bill, because of the fact that it's coming out of capital and it's supposed to be going through the town, that the town is kept in the loop of everything that's going on, you know.
Yes, my dogs are going a little crazy here, but I was gonna ask Bill if you could scan that and submit that to us.
Yeah,
That
sure,
quote?
no, absolutely.
Submit that to us and then keep us in the loop on the process.
Yep, no, that's no problem, and so the billing is all gonna go through Ola's office anyways, so she'll have to cut the PO and we'll have to,
Yeah, but we want you to attend and tell us how it's going.
oh, yeah. Yeah, yes, Suzanne, I will let you know how it's going. Would you like to pick the floor?
No, I've been doing that, enough of that. All right, so now we got to vote on it.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion to waive the bid process and move forward with this school flooring project?
Off the state contractors list, yes.
State
Yes.
contractors list. Say aye.
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 There's
Opposed?
lettuce, there's onions, there's all kinds of stuff. The meat is in there.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for being patient.
Okay,
Soft shells around somewhere, there's more hard shells.
All right, moving on to agenda item 11, citizens' comments. Any citizen comments at this time?
I think they've almost all left us.
Just Linda J.
Just Linda.
So we're not
All right.
totally abandoned.
Right.
Moving on to agenda item 12 then, tax refunds. I make a motion that we refund Sherry L. Janess Belanger $123.45 and Eric Allen and Erica Lee Strike $145.38 for a total of $268.83 in tax refunds.
Second.
Second, any discussion on this? All in favor of approving tax refunds in the amount of $268.83, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We'll make a motion that we adjourn this meeting at 8:58 p.m.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn, 8:58 p.m. All in favor? Oh, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned, 8:58 p.m.
Good night.
Thank you,
Good night.
everyone. Good night.